Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham here on a Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, enjoyed some March Madness if that's your thing. My team lost last night, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the Mavs today. Before we do, though, do me a favor. Share this video on Twitter, and if you follow these simple steps, I will retweet you guys on Twitter. Click the share button on this video, then you select the Twitter icon, then you click post to Twitter, and if you take the next step, which is tagging me in that tweet before you click tweet at HGrahamNFL, obviously cover the NBA as well, I will retweet everybody that shares this video on social media. So let's make it happen. Let's spread the word here on Dallas Mavericks Today. All right, let's talk about this team. Another big game tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. Is Luka Doncic going to be in action tonight? Well, he's listed as questionable by the Mavericks, but Tim McMahon of ESPN.com, who has the scoop, doesn't seem confident. Says Luka is listed as questionable with that thigh strain after missing the past 4 games, but there wasn't much optimism at Mavs shoot-around that the superstar would play against the Grizzlies tonight. So that's certainly a bummer, but if he's trending back toward coming back soon, how will the ball move when he's back in the lineup? How do the touches mix with him and Kyrie? The flow certainly of the offense certainly seemed better in some regards. Now, look, do not read this as the Mavs move or they're a better offense without Luka, because they're just not. That's not the case. We still don't have hardly a large enough sample size at all when him and Kyrie played together. It's just they got to figure all of that out, but obviously the clock is ticking. You got 11 games left in the season. Luka's probably not going to play tonight, so 10 games at most for these guys to get on the same page. Now, if you look at the numbers during these 4 games, pretty good, right? 111 points per game, almost 47% from the field, 40% from 3, and I think only the last game, right? Coop was with Kyrie, so it's been with mostly backups, but you got to take some of that with a grain of salt, right? Like the win you just had, nice win. It's against the Lakers. They're not that good. Spurs, they're terrible. So, you know, you got to look at this, and it's like, okay, like obviously over an 82-game stretch, like your splits are going to be better with Luka Doncic, but he has to, I think, lower the ISO touches a little bit, I would say. Like, he's obviously an isolation type of player. Can he adjust? Can he play within the flow? Can he play off ball a little bit more? I think Luka Doncic is a better player than a guy like James Harden, but I will give Harden credit in the sense that he has been able to play on and off the ball at times throughout his career, and I think Luka has got to be willing to embrace that and be willing to improve in that area, especially if he wants to have a good partnership with Kyrie Irving for the foreseeable future. So that's going to be something to watch for the rest of the season once he returns, because, look, let's be honest, unless Luka and Kyrie are both balling, this team has no chance of making a run in the NBA playoffs. So they've got to figure out what that looks like for them to best be able to make that run. So are you excited to have Luka back soon? I certainly am. Doesn't appear it's going to be tonight. But if you are, type me. You're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break right here. So if you're fired up to get Luka back, reply to the pinned comment by simply typing me. All right, speaking of Kyrie Irving, sounds like he has led some player-only meetings. The Mavs has had conversations surrounding the current state as a team, and Kyrie has stepped up and been the leader in those meetings, which is certainly something you love to see. Here's what he's had to say about these team meetings. Quote, "We had a real group conversation that we needed to get some things out, and now we're just living with the wins and the losses because we're together. It's just those conversations behind the scenes that really matter for our organization." And look, I got to be honest. While the wins and losses hasn't really necessarily translated, this team is stuck in the mud. Kyrie, in terms of the antics he's shown in the past, that really has been left in Brooklyn, it appears, so far. Small sample size. He hasn't been here that long, but he's done what you need a star player to do. He's led. He's played well, at least individually. So far, so good in that regard. Now, has it translated to this team getting hot and winning a bunch of games? No, it hasn't, but I do think it could show a glimmer of hope for the future if the Mavs do end up re-signing Kyrie Irving. So I think that's something good to see, and it's good to see that teammates are responding to that. Latest example of that, after Maxi's blunders against the Spurs, Kyrie was there to help. He also goes back to Maxi in that Lakers game, trusts him after he drew the double team. He buries that shot, so that was big. And look, I mean, maybe it's hyperbolic, maybe it's not. if the Mavs are going to do anything this year, look back at that Lakers game as a potential turning point. Like, wow, they were 0-12 in those situations. Final, I think, 5 or 10 seconds of a game shooting to take the lead. 0 for 12, and they come up big there. Kyrie draws the double, makes a great skip pass to Maxi on the weak side, and he buries a three in Anthony Davis's face, which you also love to see. But and you love the reaction afterward. The little dog pile, they kind of made jokes like, I didn't want to get Maxi hurt there. But that was nice. That was nice. That was a rare good moment in a season that's been very frustrating. And maybe, just maybe, that turns into something. If you can back that up with the win over Memphis tonight, I think that would be pretty monumental. Now, here's what Maxi has had to say about having Kyrie as a teammate for a short period of time. He says, quote, he knows how to talk to people, where to set up people, sees the strength in players, and knows what he expects them to do. So that helps really a lot. He's a very, very great teammate. He's always in positive spirits, uplifting words and all of that. So I'm very appreciative to be able to play with him. And yeah, again, like, the wins and losses are the most important, but in terms of chemistry and things like that, getting along, so far so good. Small sample size, but in that regard, it's probably been better than we could have asked. Even, with the media, he's been good for the most part, which he obviously has not always been that, as he's felt he's been unfairly portrayed or whatever the case may be. So fingers crossed that part of it continues, and fingers crossed that the wins start to pile up, because ultimately you make that trade because you want to win games more than anything else. So show some love to Kyrie. Type 2 in the comments if you're behind him, if you're behind this basketball team trying to make a push here in March and trying to be a playoff team. Listen, they could still get a top 6 seed. Definitely a decent chance of that happening. So type 2 in the comments below. And I think a win tonight would go a long way in securing a top 6 seed. The Mavs take on the Grizzlies tonight in Memphis without Ja Morant. No Luka, it appears, for Dallas. So that's kind of a 50-50 type of opportunity. So hopefully the Mavs can get one here, because Coop, didn't they lose the other 2 to Memphis? So you would like to establish one out of these 3 over the past 5 games against the Grizzlies. So opportunity to do that tonight. Again, we'll see if there's some momentum carryover from that emotional win in Los Angeles. Who you got in this one tonight? Type DAL for the Mavericks, MEM for the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm sure the Grizz will be slight favorites at home, but without Ja, that's certainly a very winnable game. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Type MFFL if you're supporting this team tonight as they take on Memphis on the road. I'm Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys soon with another video here on Mavericks Today.